Welcome to episode 171 of the Sports Marketing Machine podcast, powered by Revelocity Sports. I am your host, Jeremy Nizer. Today, we're going to dig into the channel that most sports teams use the most, but actually get the least out of: email. Now, before you say, Jeremy, we do email. I'm tuning out. I'm going to go listen to something else, or I'm going to do something else. Hear me out. Stick with me on this one. Because there is a huge difference between using your email software as an email blast, like you would with MailChimp or Constant Contact or Iterable or Eloqua or whatever email software that you're using. Then there's email as a system. And I bet good money that if I looked at your current email strategy, what I'd find is a calendar of email blasts, not a system. Here's what it costs you without having a system. 70 to 75% of your fans get to the cart. They put things into the cart and they abandon it. They leave. Just like you and I do when we go to Amazon. We put stuff in our cart and we leave. They get that close and then they leave. That happens all the time. We do it, you and me. 10% retention rate. Minor League Baseball, it's 85% of fans come from 1 year, don't come out the next. That one and done is the norm. And it's terrible if you all think about it, because all of your work is going into buying and getting new customers year after year. The other thing I want to point out is that there's nearly zero automated follow-up by most teams. It's a lot of manual processes. So when a fan falls off, nobody really catches them because everything is manual. These aren't shocking takes. This is actually the norm for most sports teams all across the United States and Canada and really around the world. I'm not saying this to pile on. What I'm saying is because every one of those numbers represents a fan that you already paid to acquire. Spent a lot of money on your ads to get them to come in to buy a ticket. They came through your doors or at least got to the checkout page, and then they just disappeared. This episode is how you stop letting that happen. Let's get into it. So the best starting spot here is how most teams use their email. The model looks like this. You have a game coming on up. You put together your e-blast that talks about all of the things that are happening with the game or games for the weekend or what have you, and you send it to your whole list. Maybe you have a promotion that weekend, so you blast again. You've got groups and you've got what have you together, and you send out an e-blast for that, e-blast out for that. You get fireworks, or you've got a big match against your opponent in the soccer world. Opening day, you're sending out these e-blasts. Maybe you do have some segmented lists in there. Multi-game buyers, single-game buyers, season ticket holders, mini plan holders. Maybe you do have segmented lists in there, but in reality, you look at these and each one of these has a purpose. You send these as, I am trying to sell tickets to this specific game. I am not telling you to stop communicating your upcoming schedule. What I am saying is the problem with this batch and blast as your only strategy. If that is your only strategy, it treats every fan on your list exactly the same. And you and I both know they're not the same. There's a grandma that brought their grandbaby out to the game. There's a mom who was looking for something fun to do with their kids. There's a 23-year-old that wanted a night on the town with their friends. Everyone in that list is different. The family who came out in July gets the same email, and in many cases is the season ticket holder. The fan who almost bought tickets last Tuesday, who got all the way to checkout and then stopped, they got the same generic promotional blast as someone who's never heard of you. That, my friends, is not a communication strategy. That's like you standing on the side of the road with a megaphone. Now, I don't blame you, because that's exactly what we have been doing for 30 years, ever since email was started. I remember going to the minor league baseball promo seminar, and Bronto was this email service that the Durham Bulls were using, and they were selling all of these tickets, and all of a sudden they got an influx of clients because it was such a new concept in the early 2000s of, well, emailing your fans, which was pretty crazy, right? Here is what this megaphone concept doesn't do. It doesn't respond to behavior. It doesn't know that someone clicked on tickets 3 times but didn't buy. It doesn't know that a fan hasn't been to a game in over 14 months. It also doesn't know that someone came once and never came back. The fix here isn't to send more emails. The fix is to send the right email at the right moment, triggered by what the fan actually did. That, my friends, is what's called a lifecycle email system. And that's what we're going to go through. So if you got through the opener and you hear the last piece that I just shared here, like, hopefully it's turning on a light bulb moment in your head. Like, I hadn't thought about email this way. I had just said, export list from ticketing software, import into Constant Contact, and hit send, which is what a lot of teams do. What we're talking about is a more sophisticated approach to be able to communicate to your fans. So when I talk about a life cycle system, we're talking about a set of automated email journeys. Each one is triggered by a specific fan behavior or milestone. Not necessarily a calendar date, but a fan action. There are, in my mind, 6 core journeys that every team should have. Let me walk through each of these with you, what triggers, why they exist, and what it's trying to accomplish. If you take these 6 that I say and you set them up in your ticketing software, you are going to sell more tickets, because simply you are sending more better personalized messaging based on what's actually happening in that person's life and what they're engaging with your team. So let's walk through what these 6 journeys are. Number 1, win back. A fan hasn't engaged in the last 90 days. The goal here is to reactivate before they forget you even exist. So an example subject line might be, hey, we miss you. Here is a reason to come back. Oftentimes teams could put in some sort of value add, discount if you really like doing discounts, but really a win back journey. This is a bunch of people that haven't been to a game in the last 90 days, or maybe they came out last year, but they haven't came out this year. So you're trying to win them back. Email number 2, or journey number 2 here, is called the lapsed buyer. These are fans who purchased in prior seasons but haven't came out this year. Your goal here is to remind them why they came. Lower the barrier to entry, really get them excited. Hey, last time the game that you came out, it was a fireworks night or a giveaway night, or we have a promotion that you came out to last time. We'd love to see you back out to the ballpark or the arena or the pitch this year, right? That's the example subject line, about reminding them about why they came out and really letting them know, hey, things are exciting, things are happening this year, and your ultimate goal is to get that lapsed buyer to come back. Yes, there is some similarities between the win back and the lapsed buyer journey, but really it's a little bit different audiences here. Maybe someone engaged a lot earlier in the year or months ago, but not right now. And then a lapsed buyers maybe last year or 2 years ago, and you want to get them to come back out. Here's another one that if you've used Stellar Algo before, you've heard this before, but maybe haven't conceptualized how this actually works in your situation. First attendee, or first known attendee. A fan attended their first game in the last 7 days. Your goal here is to convert that one timer into maybe another game, or really keep them engaged before they go cold. So sometimes teams will send surveys related to it, like, hey, how was your first game? Here's what's coming up next. Or it's just like a special offer or just a promotion that's specific to them about coming back out. How was your first game? Here's what's coming on up, and here's some tickets opportunities. What I have found in the data that we see is that actually the win back and the lapse buyers convert better than the first known attendee, which is great all the way across the board. But the first known attendee, them getting a message to recognize, hey, we appreciate you coming on out. How was your first game? We're acknowledging and we're telling them, hey, we see you. We're validating that you came out for the first game. Like, we appreciate you. Thanks for coming out. All right, next journey that we're talking about here is one more game. The goal here is simply to turn a single game buyer, one game attendee into a multi-game attendee. So, fan attended a game earlier in the year, we want them to come out to another one. We're bridging the gap between just them casually coming out to a game earlier in the year to being committed to another game. You've been out already earlier in the year. We want you to come back out. Here's another game that we think you would absolutely love. It's like 3 weeks in advance or 4 weeks in advance so they can plan. And I think in their minds, it's like, hey, great, I had a blast the first time. Let me come back out the second time. I've seen this work a lot in minor league baseball and some of the summer collegiate teams that we work with where they came out for a fireworks night, maybe for opening night or opening weekend, and then they came out. You're trying to get them to come out to another game. Here is the win here on the one more game journey. If you can turn a single game buyer into a multi-game buyer, you have a better chance to turn them into a mini plan holder. So that's the whole goal of this, is to move them up the ladder, automated, where you don't have to consistently send out e-blasts all the time. Journey number 5, know before you go. We all know what this is. Fan purchased a ticket, then they're getting an email the day of or the day before about, hey, here's what to expect. It reduces friction, builds excitement, even potentially drives upsell. This is such a fun, great journey here because you can put things in here. Hey, it's a kid's day. Here's a link to buy X, or hey, here's $2 off ice cream, or hey, here's don't forget fireworks start at this time. Like, you can really use the know before you goes, not just as a blanketed email. You can use it to help you sell more stuff. And I think some teams forget to do that, but the know before you go is such a great thing that teams can use to not only just set the expectation for the game, but also keep the fan engaged in what's happening. The underlining thing of this in your email software is when you're getting fans opening emails, it increases your sender reputation. So when they're opening a know before you go, it not only benefits the fan, but it also benefits you from an email sending perspective. And then journey number 6, and this is actually the one that's the least sexy, but it's actually the one that really is super helpful in multiple levels, and that's a post-game survey. 24 hours after a fan attended a game, you want to send them a survey. Could be a 3-email or a 3-question survey or a 5-question survey, but you want to capture what's called a net promoter score. 1 to 10, how would you rate your experience? 1 to 10. Super simple. It identifies unhappy fans before they churn. You can flag happy fans for upsells. And this one is so great because what we're seeing inside of the surveys that we've put together, which is a whole lot different than typical surveys that you see, is fans have an opportunity to say, yeah, I'm interested in group tickets or mini plan or season tickets for the rest of the way. They're actually driving leads for teams, which is bananas because when you think about surveys, most of it's self-serving. It's for the team to really say, hey, how was your experience? Oh, the hot dog was cold, or the menu didn't offer this, or it did that, right? But in this case, it's actually allowing the fans to communicate what's on their mind, what they're thinking about. But we've adjusted it and have done it for several teams where it's now driving warm ticket buyer leads. So really great. So those 6 journeys, let me go through them one more time. Win back is journey number 1. Lapse buyer is number 2. First known attendee is number 3. One more game is number 4. Know before you go is 5. And post-game survey is number 6. So 6 journeys. Each one exists because a specific fan needs go unmet at the exact moment. If you don't show up, like no one does, nothing happens, right? What happens here is you can see that each one of these fans are in different situations, and you are speaking to them where they are in that specific situation. A know before you go is really, hey, you're coming out to a game. We're meeting you where you are. You haven't been out in 2 years. We're sending you something about getting you to come back out. We're meeting you where you are. That type of personalized marketing works way better than a one-off e-blast to everyone. I want to spend a couple seconds here back on the know before you go. Everybody knows what it is. It's the one that teams least expect they need to do. You might think, and some teams might think about this, hey, they already bought. Why are we spending email blast touching them? Because as a fan, a lot of your fans are new. Remember I shared earlier that 80 to 85% of fans in minor league baseball don't come back the next year, which means that all those fans are new and coming on out. That fan doesn't know where to park, what gate to enter, what's happening on the concourse that night, what the weather looks like. That fan now has a better understanding and expected a better experience because you have been in front of things and intentional and communicated some of the things to them, and the fan who has a better experience comes back. Plus, it's the best opportunity for you to be able to upsell food and beverage packages, add-ons, merchandise before they even walk in the door. That is so amazing, and that is what I'm very excited about here. The post-game survey is the other one worth calling out. Most teams don't do this, or if they do, it's really self-serving. The ones they treat it is like more like, I'm just trying to get information out of you so that we can get better, and it's really self-serving. Yes and no, right? A well-designed post-game survey does two things. It absolutely catches your unhappy fans before they tell everyone on social media and their friends, and it flags your most satisfied fans for a targeted follow-up, which is your cleanest path to a mini plan or a season ticket or even a group conversation. All right, this is the next part of this where it even gets more ninja, the persona layer. Why the same email to everyone fails. You're probably looking at your email blast and say, hey, I got open rates of 20 to 30%. That's pretty dang good. We got open rates, we got clicks, we got people buying things. I got numbers. We know sales is a numbers game. If I send out 10,000, I got an open rate of 30%. I got 3,000 people that opened it. I got another 1,000 people that clicked and 600 that bought. Hey, I'm good, right? Like, yes, you are to an extent, but to level it up, right? You've got these 6 journeys running. Each one is triggered at the right moment. And that, my friend, you're already going to be miles ahead. But what you're going to notice is the open rates are higher. Your click-through rates are higher. And it's simply because you're meeting people where they are. And that is miles ahead of where most teams are. But this is where you can get even further ahead. Personalization by persona. Your email list, just like I mentioned earlier, isn't just one audience. It's multiple different audiences that happen to be all fans of your team. Or at least they've engaged or came out to a game at some point. Maybe they're not a huge fan, but they've enjoyed your games. And when you send the same email to all of them, you're writing for nobody in particular, which means is you're connecting with almost no one. You're using the same messaging, the same for the mom who bought tickets to bring their family out to the game, which is the same messaging to the 24-year-old who wanted to come out and have a night on the town with their friends, which is the same messaging to the empty nesters who are grandparents and want to take their grandbabies out to the game, right? Here is this simple example. You've got a Bluey Night coming up. You've got 2 fans on your list, a young family, parents in their 30s or early 40s, 2 kids under 8. They came once last summer for a giveaway night, and they haven't been back yet. Your email should say, hey, Bluey is coming to the ballpark or the arena. Your kids will love it. Here's what to expect. Gates, timing, why this night is perfect for families. You see, that messaging for young families is spot on. Now, fan B is the empty nesters. These are grandparents in their 60s or 70s. They're the parents of the young family that I was just mentioning there. They've got grown kids. They've got grandbabies nearby. Perhaps they've been a season ticket holder, or maybe they've came out in the past. But you need to give them a reason to bring their grandkids to the game. The email should say something like, looking for a night that your grandkids will talk about all summer. Bluey Night might be your answer. And here's all the details about Bluey Night. You see how that messaging is totally different from a young family and an empty nester? Holy moly, like if my wife got that one about like, hey, your kids are going to love this. It's like, hey, you know me. You know that I have kids that are interested in Bluey. Or that grandparent who gets that email that says, this sounds like an awesome thing to take my grandbabies to. Like totally, because now you're not speaking to everyone. You're connecting messaging to the right people. Your marketing should be easy and it should work. And this is how you do it. You speak to people at the right time, at the right spot when it is really in their situation, right? Same event that I just talked about for the Bluey Night, completely different email. One speaks to a young parent who's tried and who's tired, who's been out to games. Like if you got kids, you just get tired, you just get worn out. There's a lot going on in your life, right? They need all the logistical stuff handled for them. They need it super simple. The other speaks to the grandparents who want to create a memory. If you said fan A, the empty nester, you send the young families the information about having an empty nester, it doesn't land. If you send that same messaging about bringing your kids out to Bluey Night to a 24-year-old who was interested in hanging out with their buddies and drinking beer at the game, like it's not going to land. It simply just won't land. And if you send both of them the generic Bluey Night is June 14th, get your tickets now, you've got a 23, 25, 30% open rate with a 1 to 2% click-through rate, and you're wondering, hey, how do I get my email to work more? I'm doing this work of sending it out. I know it's working, but it just isn't working to the level that I think it should be, right? The key personas we focus on specifically for minor league baseball and summer collegiate sports teams are young families. These are families with preschool and elementary age kids. They're value driven, logistic focused. I can tell you right now, as a dad to an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old in my house, and my wife is working as well, we are busy. We literally have stuff happening, soccer, glee practice all the time. We need something super simple that you say, hey, this is what time, this is this. Keep it super simple for us, and we're very value driven. If it's 50% off, you got my attention, but like I need value added stuff, and I'm happy to have my wife chime in too, but like that's where we are from a young family's perspective. Empty nesters, they have grandkids. They're looking for nostalgia, experience driven, maybe even a premium, something like that, because they have a little bit more disposable income to be able to spend. But they're really looking to create memories with their grandkids. Young professionals, these are the empty nesters, right? 22 to 35, really taking a look at your game as a social atmosphere. It's group friendly, but they're really looking for something fun to do with their friends on a Friday or a Saturday night or a Thursday night. These are your other core personas here, avid fans and diehards. These are folks that are diehard baseball fans. They really follow the players, development stories. They care about the game quality. They're like, yeah, our second baseman isn't very good, or our midfielder needs a lot of work. Like they're really into the game, right? And then the other bucket here is your corporate buyers. These are the folks that are planning group outings. They're really looking on creating an experience to really enhance things in their office. They need to keep things super simple, and you need to kind of have logistics figured out for them as well. You probably already know. If you looked at your database, you could say, well, this person is a grandparent. This is a young family. Like, you can do that just by looking at the names because you know your fans, at least roughly, right? But you don't have them organized into specific segments and organized inside of your email software. When I talk about lifecycle emailing with persona layer, it's letting the knowledge that you have and the data that you have send an email to the right person at the right time. It's so powerful. And if you got questions about this, I'm going to leave my email in the show notes. Feel free to reach out, because when you start thinking about things this way and you start building things this way, you are going to, I don't want to say print money, but you're just going to start connecting with your fans at a different level and sell more tickets because you're meeting people where they are. All right, so we've covered the problem, the batch and blast, the export of the ticketing software and importing into the email software to send emails. It doesn't respond to the fan behavior. It works in a vacuum. This is what we've got. This is the best that we can do today. It absolutely works, right? But the next level up, we've talked about the opportunities to creating email journeys and matching persona behavior, right? We've covered the solution, those 6 lifecycle journeys. Each are triggered at the right moment. And we've covered the layer that makes it all land and really helps you take you to the next level. And that's the being persona specific messaging. Now, I'm going to tell you, we've actually done this with a lot of sports teams in baseball and a little bit in college athletics as well. We've actually built this for you. So if you're interested in this, we're happy to chat with you about it. We're going to be hosting an upcoming webinar to really unpack how you can do this, what this all looks like, how this all connects, and it's going to be completely free. I'm just going to show up and teach you how to do all of this so that you can do it, hit the pedal to the metal, and sell more tickets. So stay tuned for for the webinar that's coming up. I'll put a link in the show notes when we hit live. They'll be limited to 100 spots. It's coming up in late July. The email system that we've developed is a done-for-you setup. And this is what we do. This is small sales pitch here, but I'm just going to go into the meat and potatoes. That means we're not handing you a template library and wishing you the best of luck. Just like I've done for 170 episodes and for a lot of teams all over the United States and in Canada, we walk alongside you. We build the journeys inside of your email service provider. So if it's iterable, if it's Eloqua, if it's Constant Contact or MailChimp, whatever it is, we're building it. We're writing the emails. We're segmenting your list by persona, setting the triggers, and testing the sequences before they go live. So you have everything set up and you feel like you have a partner in this. You have someone that's come alongside you to set everything up to hit go. Included in this, all 6 journeys, email copy, persona segmented, audience segmentation based on your database, trigger logic based on behavior, not just date-based, A/B subject line. We're going to go through everything, have a dashboard, share with you what's actually converting and what isn't. And we've done this for teams from multiple leagues all across the United States and in Canada as well. The results we are seeing are higher open rates versus triggered emails, higher open rates on triggered emails versus the email blast. We're seeing 35, 50, 65 open rates, and conversion rates are 3 to 5 times because they are way better than a generic promotion email send, because timing matters. Relevance matters. When a fan who just attended their first game gets a personal feeling email 48 hours later, it says, hey, we noticed this was your first time out. Thanks for coming out. That feels more personal than just a send a email blast out. That feels like a conversation, and conversations convert. So if you're curious about this, I'm going to put a link in the show notes to the upcoming webinar. We're going to release it within a week. It's completely free, and I'm going to teach you all about this, show you how this all works. If you're interested in having us help you, great. If not, you're going to leave with the information of how to do this so that you can do it for you, right? So if you're interested in talking more about this and maybe you're curious before the webinar, I'm going to put a link in my show notes of my email. Let's just schedule some time to talk. I'm happy to unpack this. We'll share how this works and what this looks like for a lot of teams and some results that we're seeing for some teams all across minor league baseball and other sports as well, so you can see the impact of this, right? We're only working with a small amount of teams we're doing this with, and it's really having some tremendous success. The hill I will die on is that personalized marketing always converts way better than your e-blast marketing. It simply is just better, truth be told, and converts. It is a hill I will always die on. All right. That's a wrap for this episode, but a quick recap before I wrap up here. A lot of teams have no idea about this, but it's like 70 to 75% cart abandonment. Fans put stuff in their cart and then they boogie. We do this with Amazon. You and me do this with Amazon all the time. Retention rate, single game buyers, 80 to 85% buy from 1 year, don't come out the next. That's in minor league baseball. It's probably worse in some leagues or better in others, but that's your baseline. That's actually fixable. The batch and blast emails treat every fan the same. I'm talking about life cycle emails respond to what they're actually interested in, how they engage with their team, and what they actually do. We talked about the 6 journeys. To recap, their win back, lapsed fan, first known attendee, one more game, know before you go, and post-game survey. Persona segmented email doubles in relevance. The Bluey Night that I mentioned earlier definitely hits different for a young family versus an empty nester versus someone who's just interested in coming out on the town and partying and having a night at the ballpark, or the arena or whatever it is, right? There is an opportunity for you to be able to have all of this built for you, or more than importantly, just learn. I'm in the teaching space. I want you to learn and grow and develop to be the best marketing people in sports, because when you grow and develop and you are a better marketer in your community thrives. Your community is fired up and excited. There is such a thrive and a new fabric and heartbeat of your community when your sports team is doing really, really well in their marketing and their messaging and how they communicate to their fans. So I appreciate that. Really appreciate you tuning in. If you've got questions, don't hesitate to reach out. If you found value in this podcast episode, take a moment, pop over to Spotify or Apple and leave a rating or review. It would mean the world to me, but more importantly, it would get this podcast and people who are just like you trying to sell more tickets and grow their fan base. Until next time.